IPMNation.com.
Live from the Outpost Studios in Columbus, Ohio, you're listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy. Brought to you by IPMNation.com. Get ready for the gong heard round the world.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All Natural Being. Warning, All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy is designed to shake your sense of self to the core.
It's full contact psychology with an empowering twist, a philosophical loofah for your soul.
For those of you not ready or comfortable releasing your inner superhuman, listener discretion is advised.
Here's your host,
Brian Brawdy.
Thank you, and welcome back to All Natural Being. That was very, very exciting, I have to tell you. I had spoken a while ago, earlier in the day, I'd spoken to my good friend Paul from Pollen-Tech about the benefits of a 20-minute cat nap. And I have to tell you, I really wasn't certain, right? I really wasn't sure if it was going to go or not. And then I just tried it. So here's what we did. I should tell you, let me say this real quick. Just do this. Welcome back to what is going to be now the 318th episode of All Natural Being. We're in the middle of our 24-hour ramp up to the record to see if 24 hours, if that in fact would work. And we now have 4 hours and 57 minutes left in our 24 hours. This is episode 318. So let me get to a little bit of this, just a little bit of describing in terms of what's going on. So according to the record books, here's the scoop. According to the record books, I'm allowed to take 20 minutes every 4 hours. So here's how it played out. At 12 hours, we were allowed 1 hour. We went off the air. Let me see what I put down here. At 17, when it says we've been on for 17 hours and 50 minutes. So we went off the air at 50 minutes, and we were back. So we have an extra 10 minutes to spare. We were back taking an hour and 10 minutes where we were allotted an hour and 20. And I want to thank Matt over at IPMNation.com for replaying the very first hour, episode 300, but replaying the very first hour. That's right, the first hour of All Natural Being that we had today, our 300th episode. So I have to tell you, that cat nap was a little more rejuvenating. I have to tell you, it was a little more rejuvenating than I thought it would be. I'm really pleasantly surprised that it worked out that well. So let me see exactly what it says we've got going on here. All right, let me see. Thank you so very much. Hey, brother, less than 5 hours getting into the home stretch. Thank you very much, John. You're absolutely right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ian. So it might still be morning. If not, it's right around afternoon or coming up late morning. Ian, thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. And as John says, we're in to our final stretch, right? We're into 4 hours and 55 minutes of our first 24-hour marathon. We're pretty fired up. If you're up and about, you want to give us a call, 833-462-3968, 833-462-3968, or 833-GO-BU. So we're testing out a little bit of this whole thing. Like, could we go? And I have to tell you that we were at 17 hours and 50 minutes, so almost 18 hours. Hold on 1 second. Let's go ahead and see. And where are we at? We're at caller number 1. Let's take a call. Good morning. Welcome to All Natural Being. Who do we have?
Good morning, Brian.
Hey, good morning. What are you up to?
Calling to check on you.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm doing great. We kicked off at the 5 o'clock hour, so thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think everything's going good. I was a little worried about my voice, to be honest, but you know what I did, baby? I went ahead and I took Paul Hunnan's 20-minute power nap advice. We reset the internet because it's been cutting in and out all night long. We reset the internet. So that gave me an hour and 10 minutes. If you want to know the math behind it, that gave me an hour and 10 minutes to figure out. Thank you very much for calling. That's very sweet of you. It gave me an hour and 10 minutes to figure it out. So we took 10 minutes to reboot. We got back on the air with 10 minutes to spare. I took a 20-minute cat nap, and I feel surprisingly better than I thought I would at this time. So I'm actually pretty excited now. According to the clock, only 4 hours and 53 minutes left, and we will have pulled off, per the rules, the 24-hour marathon. So thank you. I hope I didn't wake you. Did I wake you, or had you already set the alarm?
For those of you who don't know, this is his wife calling in to check on him.
Yes, it is. Ashley, thank you so very much, baby. I super appreciate it. And so how did I do? Did I make it, or did I wake everybody up?
You did not wake everybody up.
Okay, cool.
As we've discussed, that was not our deal. You were supposed to take an hour nap.
Well, can I be honest with you?
Mm-hmm.
I lied down and set the alarm, right? Because here was my thought. I lied down. I got off air at 10 till. So I said, okay, let me reboot the internet. Let me see how that's working. So far, so good. I rebooted that. And then I lied down at exactly 4 o'clock. Had the alarm set for 5 because I knew I would have an extra 10 minutes. And I woke up. I woke up 45 minutes in. So I ended up taking a 45-minute nap, came upstairs real quick, came down, turned on the lights, turned on the cameras. So I actually woke up before the alarm even went off. So I well, I'm not going to fall back to sleep for 10 minutes. And Ian says hello. You should know. He says just after 10 a.m. where Ian is. So Ian, thank you very much.
Hello, Ian. Hello, Marion.
Ashley says hello. So thank you, baby. This is a very pleasant surprise. I don't think you've ever called this show. This is the first.
No, I'm always your testing dummy with the studio phone. So no, I have this secret phone number.
That is true. That is true. Baby, this is very nice of you. Thank you. So yeah, I think I'm a short timer now. 4 hours and 51 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty fired up.
So you didn't sleep how you normally sleep, and given your, shunt and all, I have to check on you. Do you have a headache? How did you sleep? Okay.
No headache, and I think I slept soundly for about 40 minutes. And then I ended up waking up, and it was 47, and I'm like, well, I might as well, no sense trying to roll over for 5 more minutes. But I have to tell you, I'm really pleasantly surprised. Because I have to tell you, Ashley, that earlier this evening, before you came down, and we had 9 hours, and I'm like, this is not 1/9 of the total time I would have to go to reach 81 hours. I was like, oh, man, I bit off way more than I could chew. And then when we
Really? Shocker, Brian.
Thanks, baby.
For those of you who don't know, this is a common theme around our house.
Well, people had mentioned that earlier, that I always seem to kind of pick a little bit of an uphill battle to check in, to check myself into. But I'm surprisingly, I feel pretty good. I've been, as you said, I took the chair from time to time, and I've taken the breaks when I can. But since I have you on the phone, can I give you a quick recap so you know what we've done throughout the day? Or are you going back to bed?
I was going to say, how were your overnight interviews? So fill me in.
Okay, so thank you, baby. We started off yesterday at 10 a.m. and I had to have Bob Lockwood. I spent a couple minutes on the phone with Bob Lockwood because he was the first ever, right? Or the first. He was on that first show. So we hung out for Bob a little bit. And then Jenny from IPM Nation called because she's kind of the reason that I'm even doing this, right? She's kind of the one that stumbled across, I think, something I had put on Facebook and called one day and said, did you ever think about doing radio? So I had to spend.
I remember that day well.
You remember it well. I spent a little bit of time with Jenny and to help us kick off the hour. And then Gordon from Try H2 came on for the hour. So that was pretty cool to learn about some of the products, learn about some of the other things going on. And then from 12 to 1, Henry from Transitional Radio was on, and that was episode 302. Because what we've had to do, and you and I didn't get a chance to talk about it, but Facebook is set up so that when you go live, it'll send out an alert to everyone that allegedly follows you, so they at least say. But
yeah,
what?
So they say.
So they say. But what, exactly. But what happens is, if you go 24 hours, they only send out one alert. They send out an alert when you first go live. So what we've been doing over the course what we will do over the course of the 24 hours, and Ian says, hello, Ashley, great to hear from you, by the way, baby, just so you know. And so what we've done is at the top of every hour, we've cut the Facebook, YouTube signal, kept the radio signal going great. So, right, because it's a radio record that we're going for. And then we reboot Facebook and YouTube at the top of the hour. So we get notifications sent out by both Facebook and YouTube each time we go on. And then Matt Connerton from IPM is just going to go through and repost the first show, take the audio from it, and then repost it, because I didn't want over like at iTunes or iHeartRadio or Spotify for them to go, oh, we normally get an hour show. Now we're getting a 24-hour show. So Matt's going to go ahead and post them individually, which is pretty cool. So episode 302 was Henry from Transitional Radio. Episode 303 was Kurt from H2 Bev. So we got a little chance to learn about nitric oxide and some of the different things that he's working on in terms of the hydrogenated water. And then
are those the pills? The little.
No, sir. No, ma'am. Those are the cans. Remember the guy said I was really moved by that was so interesting.
You like those? Yes.
Yeah, I really do. And the beet juice.
You really do.
Yeah, the beet juice. Exactly.
Yeah, you love the beet juice. Right.
So Kurt was on with us from 1 to 2, and episode 304 was Steve from ProPure, talking about all the different, the bad guys and the bad girls, the swimmers in the water, and what you can do to purify your water. So Stephen was on from ProPure from 2 to 3. And then Sherry.
You stole my water jug from the fridge, by the way.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it cool, but I tell everyone how much I enjoyed watching the smile on your face, and you were like, wow, that really tastes, I think you said clean and crisp, if I remember, or clear and crisp. And then,
and I went to get it yesterday, and my jug was taken, so I had to slum it with our
No, you don't have. Not true.
I'll be looking forward to that being returned.
Well, it'll be returned in 4 hours and 46 minutes. So that's what I put all the ice in the cooler down here for, so I wouldn't be bugging you running up and down the stairs the whole time. So then, let me see. Oh, Sherry from No More BS, No More Brain Surgery, she called in for episode 305. So we got to hang out and talk shunts, talk, State of the Union kind of thing. So that part was cool. At 4 to 5, it was Mike Warren and his dad, Dr. Warren, called in from Alternative Health Concepts. And I haven't spoken to Dr. Warren in quite some time, but talking about BioPro Plus and thymic proteins and how important it is for people over the age of 40 to really pay attention to what the body does. And Mike gave a really good a really good idea, I think, as to how you can look at BioPro. He says like a neighborhood watch program. The BioPro acts, goes through your body, the thymic protein identifies invaders, identifies things in your system that shouldn't be there, and it marks it. It targets them so that when your immune system and the white blood cells come through, it just looks for whatever the thymic protein is targeted. So I asked Mike again.
Did you have a conversation with him that you're a living proof of that, considering all of the little Petri dishes that come back to our house from preschool and from kindergarten, in however long you've been taking it, you've gotten sick once.
That's what I love about you, baby. I said Petri dishes. Exactly. I told him, and I said, look, you
don't ever get sick, and it's because you take that stuff.
I think it is absolutely
amazing.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely the case. And, but I did. I said Petri dishes, and I go, look, these legs, these Petri dishes with legs. It's unbelievable the kind of stuff that they bring home. And then from 5 to 6, Misty came on and talked about essential oils and vitamins and the like. And then from 6,
you have her doTERRA going.
I do. Now. That's right. So, and it's an instrumental part of what we do. And then the the oils and the like. And it's always great to talk to her because she really works hard in terms of communicating to people the things that will help to heal you both physically and mentally. So it was cool to hang out with her. And then from 6 to 7, it was really nice to talk to Paul from Pollen Tech, talked about the studio and how he's able to purify the air. And we had a really great conversation. It was very nice. He said, believe it or not, Paul and I have known each other 25 years. He goes, 25 years ago, you walked into the gym and we shook hands and said hello. And he goes, we've been friends ever since. So it was really nice to catch up with him and learn a little bit about Pollen Tech and about some of the different things that he's working on to try to help as we came to understand it. Regular folks, you might not have $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 to buy some of these air cleaners and air strippers. But with Pollen Tech, it's $40, $50, depending upon the model that you get, and you're able. And I told him when the boys were growing up that the fan buddy also doubled as a nanny because it was the perfect white noise when they were falling asleep.
So cute when they were growing up. They're all of 4 and 5.
When they were little and started to sleep, I said, "You're right." You see Blyden at 40 years old walk down the stairs now with his hands in his pockets, and you can forgive me for saying, when they were little.
Feels like it.
Then Amanda came on for episode 309. She talked about.
Great.
You want to go? Yeah, it was great. And Jose called in to make sure I was taking care of my voice, and also Ann from Raw Mama called in at that same time to hang out with Amanda and talk to us about just the water that we drink, hydrogenated water, her the new setup that she has, and then also the importance of really watching your diet. So it was great to hang out with Amanda again. Because you hung out and in the green room, or at least the green area of the basement here. You hung out when Kelly was over. And we got a lot of great questions and a lot of interaction. Kelly was talking about dental health, oral health, and how important it is, how it communicates to the rest of your body. And we got to ask her all kinds of cool questions, some great questions in the thread as well. So we had a chance to spend an hour with Kelly for episode 310. Then Dana Lee called in from 9 to 10 for episode 311, as she is a stand-up comic. So we got to talk a little bit about writing copy and dealing with hecklers, and just as a mom and raising the young son and still doing everything in terms of her comedy, how she doesn't let anyone tell her no anymore. So it was cool to hang with her. Then at 10 to 11, Lee Rowley came on, and we were just bantering and laughing. And he's I think you look at him as a copywriter all the time, you forget how funny he really is. He was on for the 312th episode, halfway point, and obviously I had a chance, to thank him for sponsoring, being the official time sponsor here for All Natural Being in the 24-hour ramp up to the record. So he was on for a bit. And then from 11 to 12, Patricia, my good friend Patricia Costello, called in just to remind people that you can be totally opposite political opinion. You can have a totally different frame of reference than another person. Doesn't mean you have to hate each other. Matter of fact, we had a blast on air talking about all the ways we disagree, right? But in the end, she was like, boy, I sure wish I would have known. I would have come and hung out with you guys in the studio. So it was great. And then at 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, Matt Connerton was on, and we talked a lot about the beginning at IPM Nation and how it started, and a little bit how he got it started. And then reminiscing of the phone call where I said, look, I'd like the toughest time slot available. He said, great, it's yours. And he said it wasn't long until you climbed to number 1. Then at 1 o'clock, my brother John called in for episode 315, and he's doing great. And I basically said, look, with everything you've achieved in the military, you went in at the lowest rank, you got out 25 years later at one of the highest ranks. What could you teach us? What could you say about, you know what I mean, just challenging yourself and seeing it through to the end? And what was interesting, he reminded me of that Run With Me So Kids Could See back in Chicago a few years back, a lot of years ago, where I ran nonstop for 24 hours to raise money to buy eyeglasses for inner city school kids. And I had forgotten all about that, baby. And he was like, oh, no, do you remember this? So he goes, when I heard of the 24-hour marathon thing, I didn't think much about it. I knew you would nail it. So that was nice of him to call in. Then from 2 to 3, Jamie called in along with Candace. And when Jamie first called in, she was talking to Henry about it in the thread the other day. I thought, well, that's a little weird. You know, she makes a joke about, oh, you want to do karaoke? And I'm thinking, well, karaoke, sure, why not? Sing Almost Heaven, this and that and everything else. But she came on, and we ended up having a really great conversation. Candace joined us as well, but a great conversation about, she does karaoke, not as it's a passion of hers, but she also does it in getting like a job, right? Like having where she'll pull in and perform and have a karaoke set up so that people at parties or this or that can perform it. And she led me to believe, and I realized that by the time I was done, it's a really great way to call people out of their shell. Because if you can get up and sing in front of a group of total strangers, she says it communicates into other areas of your life, and you're going, what else is it that I'm afraid to do? What else could I do if I just push myself and challenge myself? And not unlike the conversation we had with John. So I'm very appreciative of Jamie and Candace calling in. And
Interesting.
I thought so. I really did too. When she said karaoke, I thought, okay, it'll be funny. You want me to sing Almost Heaven, West Virginia. But then, and you could probably help, she also had a song called Hang On Sloopy.
Yeah, that's an Ohio song, baby. How do you not know that?
Because I thought
here now,
I know, but I thought it was "Hang On Snoopy." I thought it was I thought it was a song. I didn't. Okay, can you help me?
Did she sing it with you? I'm not singing it.
No, you don't have to sing it with me because there was like you have to do the Ohio symbol and everything else. OHIO.
Yeah, OHIO. Yeah.
Yeah, I had no clue. But let me ask you. She said the people lived in Cleveland.
Watch a football game every once in a while.
Oh,
I mean,
please!
I
told her.
Religion,
I know it.
Come on, I didn't make
Were you
watch
listening?
it on Saturday.
Did you?
Yes, there was a game on Saturday. We won, but come on.
You won? Oh,
we live here now.
No,
That's
true.
Of Ohio State football.
Yeah, we won, right?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
By the way, speaking of which, I found your Ohio State T-shirt buried under a bunch of stuff. I mean, I could bring it down for you to put on, but I'll wait till after.
Yeah, we'll wait.
I know how much you love it.
Thank you so much. It was so sweet of you. It really was. John says, yes, that was a fun hour. Let me also say hello to Matt. Matt, thank you, and for working all your magic to get us into that hour. Thank you very much for that. So, yeah, we were doing Hang On Sloopy. So can I ask, because I still didn't get a straight answer, what is a Sloopy, or who is a Sloopy? What's the whole thing behind that? I still don't understand. I thought it was Snoopy, the cartoon character. What's a Sloopy?
I'll give you an Ohio State lesson when we're off the air.
Oh, yeah. Boy, I'm looking forward to that. Look, I can't wait for this countdown clock, 4:35. Okay, so this morning you're kind of like, well, Brian, what are you going to do? I'm thrilled that you called, so thank you very much to give us kind of
so Jamie and Candace were your last ones?
No. Then I went to episode 317, and from 3 to 3:30, our friend John was on talking about, and as he said, that was a fun hour, talking about an adventure. He's getting ready to put his gear on a bicycle, travel up and down the East Coast, and doing video and audio reports, good stories that he finds about stories of people getting along, people tolerating each other and this and that. So we talked all about what it was going to take and how he was going to, kind of travel the country. It made me think, John just says, and maybe this is for you, Ashley, I don't know. He says, roll, tide, roll. Is that, or is that, Okay. Is that something else? Oh, is that like an Alabama thing? Is that something else? Roll Tide, roll.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, so John, thank you.
Alabama is historically, of late, a better football team. It pains me to say that, but Ohio State.
That pains you to say it.
There.
All right, John. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, if I could ask,
Wait. Time out.
Okay.
So with John, did you tell him how you idolize what he's about to do?
Absolutely.
Considering all you've ever wanted to do. Is
Absolutely.
To put some flaps on your bike and
Absolutely.
travel from town to town.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we went through all that and about terms of doing his own bicycle maintenance and all those different things. Oh, absolutely. And I told him, and Joseph Haggerty was on with us from Colorado Springs, and he's like, oh, you're getting ready for the time of your life. So that part was pretty cool. So yeah, it was nice. And John's a good guy. So he'll have a hell of an adventure, but he'll also do some good in terms of the stories that he wants to share with everyone. So I thought that was pretty cool as well. And then, I know what I want to ask you. You said you had today's Monday already. So you had a football game on Saturday. What's going on with Urban Meyer? Was he back at the game, or how does that work? Did he get a suspension, or what happened? And all
I'm
that.
sorry, this is going to sound terribly shallow, but I've been too busy being a single parent the last couple of hours that I haven't had time to screw around on the internet. Because, by the way, my husband told me I couldn't even use my own Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Well, I
So,
fixed it. It looks like it hasn't cut out. So thank you. That was very sweet of you. But you have to know, if you watched the game on Saturday, I wasn't on the internet on Saturday.
Yeah,
or was
I wasn't watching it because you were too busy preparing for it today.
Well, thank you.
So I,
Thank you,
for
sweetie.
those who, other parents out there who don't typically sit and watch our phones and be on our phones, and it was a beautiful weekend here. So I was out
at the pool,
gallivanting with the kids,
having fun. Yeah,
because winter is coming.
It's coming here, isn't it?
Get every minute you can while it's still nice. So no, all I saw was the highlights, and that was fine with me.
Okay, very cool. But they won.
We were going to win.
Okay, you knew you were going to win. Very cool. And then, so getting back to the question of the hour, what or who is Sloopy? I still don't understand. Is it a person?
It's 5:26.
So you're going back to bed. You're not. I'm still not. From you and Jamie, I'm still not going to know. 3 hours into this, I still don't know who Sloopy is.
Oh, I'm sure you're dying to know. Sure.
Yeah. Right. So I thank you. But this is such a pleasant surprise. Thank you so very much for calling.
You haven't told me the lineup of who's to come.
Oh, who's to come this morning? Thank you. We've got open calls between now. So thankfully to you, it's 5:30. So for the next 90 minutes, we'll do open calls at 833-462-3968 or 833-GO-BU. You should know that John gave you, I would love to learn how to do these emojis, but 3 smiley faces laughing so hard tears are coming out. So I guess he really liked the roll, tide, roll comment. And then at 7 o'clock this morning, 7 to 8, Henry Noel from Transitional Radio will be back on. Lee's joining us this morning in the thread. Lee, nice to see you again. I was just busy telling Ashley about hanging out with you last evening when we did when we talked about everything the Sales Copy Academy, and also my chance to thank you in person again for sponsoring the time clock, which, if you see this morning, is now down to 4 hours and 31 minutes. So, Lee, thank you for joining us again. And then right after that, this morning, baby, from 8 to 9 is Sue. Sue's going to call in.
Oh, that'll be a hoot.
I think so too. So it's you know what you should do, now I know it's a tough time in the morning and all, but if you get a minute, you should call in too and say hello when she's in. She'll be with us for the hour, 8 to 9, and then 9 to 10. It's just going to be me. I'll wrap it up, and we will have our first 24 hours under our belt. So that's what went down yesterday, and that's the plan for the rest of the day.
Okay, so given that you're ballpark 20 hours in, and since you somehow think that you're going to go to 80 at some point, and that I'm going to let you do that, right? How do you feel? Do you think you could do it? Do you think you need to do this again? Do we need to do 48 to see if you could build up to it like someone who runs marathons? You train and train, right?
Yeah, you know what I think? You know what I think, baby, to be honest? I think I need to get in better shape. I kept taking notes about all the things that I would mess up. And it's just because I hadn't done it before, right? So you have some notes, you go, oh, make sure you change this cable, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. This morning when we went off air after almost 18 hours, 17 hours and 50 minutes, I was a little worried about my voice. I'll tell you, when I went upstairs for a quick moment to lie down, I didn't feel tired. I felt wide awake. I just didn't know if my voice could carry itself for, at that point, another 6, almost 7 hours. So I'm really glad to report that my voice seemed to recover in about 40 minutes, and I don't seem nearly as tired. I've not even had a hint of a headache, but I've been staying hydrated. I've been drinking my hydrogen water. I've been doing all that. So not even a hint of a headache, but I would need to start doing, I thought a lot about how you pace your dad in ultramarathons, and I thought a lot about that. I would need some more. I need some more 24 hours up like this. You know what I mean? And I'm beginning to believe that it's more of a detriment for me to lie down for an extended period of time. Like, I don't think I could lie down for 24 hours. I think I would probably have some trouble with the shunt, but it is not.
You think? You can't lie down for more than 6 hours without having trouble.
Well, true. But the nice thing about it is I thought it was going to be a good bit more painful to be up for 24 hours, right? To have the gravity doing nothing but working on the shunt. I would tell you straight up, when we looked at the clock and it said I was 9 hours in, thinking that was 1/9 of the way to 81, I was like, oh man. But as I sit here this morning with only 4 hours and 28 minutes left, Lee says, my pleasure, sir. You never cease to amaze me. Almost 20 hours in, and you're still kicking butt, taking names. So thank you very much, Lee. And I have to tell you, I feel better than I thought I would. So, voice. But here's the thing.
Yeah, you're a little raspy.
Raspy.
This reminds me of when you used to host the Outdoor Adventure Tour.
I know.
And by the end of the day,
yeah,
your voice was raspy. You almost need like throat lozenges or something.
Need throat lozenges. And I'll tell you something else, baby. I need to do a better job. Like when we hear back from Guinness and they go, okay, here it is. Here's the official records and everything else. Because I think what happens is there are more things going on in the show that compel you not to have to speak. And I've been really fortunate to have great guests, and I tried to let them do the bulk of the talking, but my voice was still going for 18 hours when I took a break. So I think what I would do if we do something is we move on. I think whether I feel like I need the break or not, I'm taking the break every 12 hours, right? Like I went over the time frame today just because that's the way it all fell together. I went over the time frame, but I think what I would do this next time up, let me say good morning to Sue. Sue, we were just talking about you. I hope you're having a blast. Thank you for joining us bright and early this morning. I think what I would do.
Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, Sue. Ashley says hello. I think I would religiously stick to, as Sue says, breaks are good. So yes, I think that's what I would do. I'll do the 12 hours.
In my world and in our house, whatever Sue says, you do. So.
Yes, that's right. Good morning, Ash. Sue says, you can do a good Batman impression. All right, cool. And Sue says, morning, Ash. So, yes, and I'm glad she laughed out loud when you said that, because I sit up straight. When Sue says something, I pay attention. You know me.
Outside of me, which, he's about the only person who can make you sit up and fly right. In our house, with Sue says go, or Sue says do, you do.
Well, and you know what? She's been a great mentor to me. She was my boss before she was my friend. And so I love taking advice from her. And this is her gig if you think about it. So I'm really excited. And I just keep looking over at the thread and going, hopefully this doesn't mean, she goes, I have breakfast date at 8. I won't be able to call in. So I'm hoping she can stick to the schedule and that we'll be able to hang out for a little bit. But yes, I feel noticeably better. And as Sue said, breaks are good. And so I think that's what I do, baby, is I'll stick 12 hours, hour off. and I think I will do the lazy lounger down here, although it didn't take me less than 30 seconds to get upstairs to the couch. I think I'll force myself into the breaks as opposed to going, all right, let me get another 20 minutes. I'll just go through. I probably, and I just didn't want to bump everyone. Like I didn't want to bump John till 2 a.m. I probably should have talked to Lee, maybe Patricia, and then taken a break. But I would have asked Matt to come on at 1, John to come on at 2, Jamie and everyone to come on 3. So I was trying not to do that. And I think what I'll do for future references, 12 hours, take the hour right then. And then maybe we go, what would really be a great test is get done with this 12 hours, lie down for an hour, and then get up and see what you have planned for the day, right? To see if my body can go 12 hours, an hour, a little bit.
Yeah, well, anything you do with us is going to require a lot more active energy than you would if you were
Yeah,
down.
So maybe we'll try that next time then, I guess is what you're saying. Okay, great. We'll try that next time. But that's what we have set up for the morning and everything else. So this is so sweet of you. Thank you very much. I thought maybe I had woken you or something. So thank you for calling and checking on me. I super appreciate it.
That you violated what you said and you didn't come to bed. So.
Okay. Thank you, baby, very much for calling. Yes, you do.
Last but not least, what time would you like breakfast delivered?
Oh, well, Sue's calling from 8 to 9. You know, it's top of the hour, bottom of the hour, whenever you get around to it. Henry will be here between 7 and 8, and I don't suspect Henry will mind if I'm eating while we're talking. So if you can, that would be fantastic.
All right. Well, congratulations
on
making
baby.
it this far.
Thank you.
Let me know what you need and have a good rest of your
And I'll bring up the picture, the ProPure picture, as soon as I'm done. Sounds good. All right, baby. I love you. Thank you. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was an absolutely pleasant surprise. Ashley was like, oh, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Where have you been? So she called to check on me, and which worked out perfect because we were going to do like a recap from yesterday's show and then talk about what we were going to be doing this morning. So that was, it was a very pleasant surprise. So thank you very much, Ashley, for giving me a call to check in. Normally she just pounds on the ceiling, right? If she was like, okay, great. What's going on? And then I'll know that means come on up and see what she's doing. So thank you. That was great. All right. So this morning, normally we take a break at the bottom of the hour, but we only have 20 minutes left, and then we'll be into our 4-hour window. So if you want to give us a call, 833-462-3968, 833-GO-BE-U. We're going to be talking, maybe we'll take a quick little bottom of the hour break just now. And we are in, let me see, what is this? We are in the 318th episode. So it is now coming up on 17, 18. Like I said, we've only got 4 hours and 21 minutes left. So let's do that. Let's run, even though we're a little past, let's run to the bottom of the hour break, and we will be right back. Thank you so very much for joining me. Thank you for everyone that's participated in the 24-hour ramp-up, and just for all the encouragement, all the cool things that have been said here in the feed. I really super appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing you back right after this break.
You're listening to the #1 rated all-natural.
No, you're not. You're not listening. Here you go. There we see. Here's another thing I talked about. You got to watch what you're doing.
You're listening to the #1 rated all-natural being with Brian Brawdy here on IPMNation.com. It's not a midlife crisis or even a quarter-life crisis. It's your shot to recapture your remarkable.
top of the day from the bottom of the hour. You're listening to the #1 rated all-natural being here on IPMNation.com. Thank you so very much for stopping over and hanging out with us. All right. Excuse me. We are back. We're coming in on 4 hours and 18 minutes. I got to tell you, I don't believe it myself either. You know what I mean? We took a break at right on 18 hours, and I was a little worried about my voice when Ashley called in. Excuse me. She said she could hear it was a little raspy, and I think I'm feeling that a little bit. We did what we could to reset the internet, and I see that it's given us some more. We made it through the opening 45 minutes, and not too much in terms of dropping the signal. Now I'm seeing we're having a little bit of a hard time with it as well. So we've got to figure out what that is, because it's not the cables. It's not what we're doing here. And I'm fairly certain it's not the software. I say it's not the cables. You know what I mean? I don't know if you can, does an internet cable ever go bad? So I guess that will be the next thing we check. So in order to get us to 6 o'clock, which is then going to be right on 4 hours, and then we're going to open up the phone lines, 833-462-3968, 833-GO-BE-U. If you're up and about and you want to give us a call, please do so. It would be great to hear from you. We're in the middle of our 24-hour. We're on the downside of it now. It'll be about 20 hours shy of just a few minutes. So we're into the bottom 4 hours of our ramp up to the record. And as Ashley had called a little bit earlier and asked me, what do you think about the 81 hours? How's that gonna work for you? And when I looked at it earlier this evening, it was 9 hours. I'm like, I'm 1/9 of the way. 1/9 of the way to the record. I go, man, that's a long day. But I got to tell you now, she asked me, she said, well, now that this part of it's under your belt, what do you think? I think maybe what it would mean is that this is the beginning of September, maybe sometime in October, maybe sometime in November, each of those months, I have another. Do you need a pacer for 6? Lee, I would love it. If you're up, brother, and you'd like to call at the top of the hour, you're going to hear your voice at the top of the hour either way. I would love it. If you know of someone, if you're calling in, fantastic. If you know of someone that's calling in, feel free to give them the number. But I'd love to hang out with you for a little bit if you get a chance. I don't know what your schedule is for the day, but that would be great. So, and then at 7 o'clock, we have Henry Noel from Transitional Radio, and then my good friend Sue McCann will be back on at 8 o'clock and Sue was my first, we've talked about this before, I think on air. She was my first producer, if you will. That's when they decided, and I was busy doing morning show TV, they're like, no, he needs a handler. He needs somebody to keep him in, keep him on the straight and narrow, I guess. And it was Sue, and it was hands down, one of the coolest bosses I've ever had. So it'll be nice to hang with her at 8 o'clock this morning. And then I'll have the final hour, right? We're going to 9:59 so we can get the full credit. 4 hours and 14 minutes left. So, Lee, thank you very much. I just saw that a post come in. Let me also say good morning to John. John, thank you very much. Ian and Matt, thank you for watching, Matt, and for the call earlier in the evening and then all that you've done to help get this to the point where it's at. Thank you very much. I super appreciate it. All right, so one of the things that we've talked about a good bit at All Natural Being, and Ashley picked up a can for me the other day because I've made this joke, right? So there's a knock at your door, and there's a stranger. Maybe it's not a stranger. Maybe it's somebody you know, and they're armed with spray paint, right? They're armed with spray paint, and they go, oh, excuse me, I hope you don't mind. Now that you've opened the door, would you mind if I ran around your house and used some spray paint, right? Maybe spray paint your cupboards, maybe the dog. Okay, we'll join you then. It'll be a blast. Yes, it will. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. What we were talking about here is, do you let people in with a can of spray paint? Go, oh, yeah, please spray paint my dogs. Oh, I got a new couch. You're welcome to spray paint the couch. Oh, here's some china. You could spray paint some china if you liked. Oh, bedding, you could do that. Toilet seats, you could spray paint that if you like, right? Do you do that? Probably not. So why would we let someone in our minds to spray paint our gray matter, right? Why would we let philosophical, what do they call it? When people spray paint, not propaganda, but you know the term, what I mean, is that when people come in and they're all these graffiti. Why would you let someone come in and spray paint graffiti all over your mind? You wouldn't let them come into your house. You wouldn't open the door to your house. Let them spray paint graffiti, right? All over anything else they can find. But it seems today that we're all, we're pretty much hell-bent on believing that it's okay to let someone in, right? Because ultimately, if a thought gets inside of our mind, we've let it in. You let someone in, and then they're going to go ahead and spray paint all your stuff. Would you do that? Of course you wouldn't do that. You'd go, Brian, there's no way. Have you been up for 20-some hours? Yes. Yes, I have. And you'd go, there's no way I'd let that happen. Then the question, again, begs to be asked, why would you let someone do it in your mind? Why would you let someone trespass? Why would you let someone hijack your cognition? And most notably, why would you let them do it if the sole purpose is to install their heart's highest priority on the top of your list? The hell with your heart. Put it in the dustbin. Put it in the junk drawer. Put it in the back on the back burner. Why would you let someone in and go, oh, look, I think my heart's priority is more important than yours, so why don't you just sit there and be quiet, do what I want to do, have my vision for your life be the one that's paramount? Of course you wouldn't let that happen. You wouldn't let someone into the front door and go, yeah, I thought I'd walk in with muddy shoes, right? I thought I'd walk in and just, leave trash all over your place. You wouldn't let that happen. Then why do we let it happen in our own minds? Maybe we've grown accustomed to it. Maybe you get to the point where you just go, sometimes it's easier than fighting it, Brian. You just let people in. You just sit there and look, I'll act like I'm watching a soap opera. I'll act like I'm doing this or doing that. Or you could not. And you could say, you know what? My days of letting people trespass, my days of being a philosophical Sherpa for someone else's opinion, those days are over. I'll be in charge. It's my gray matter. Thank you very much. We've talked, and thank you again for all the cool guests that called in yesterday. But you look at the air filter. Kelly was here last night, and she goes, look, I brought you one of these, the face mask that she has to wear. We talked about the water filter with Steve. So we have this ability to filter out all the bad guys, the toxins, the allergens, all the different things flying around, all the different things swimming around, whether it's in our air or in our water. But yet we don't block the philosophical toxins. We don't block the philosophical from entering our minds. Other people's opinions that can just derail our destiny, they can just ruin our day, and we think that's okay? Where did we learn that? Perhaps more importantly, where do we got to go to unlearn that? What do we have to do to make certain that the days of us being played like a fiddle, the days like us being played like a sock puppet, where do we got to go to give ourselves permission to say, you know what? I'm just not going to let that happen anymore. Now, as you know, we've talked about it. We can't change the fact that we're targeted by fate. We can't change, I think, for the most part, right? We can make sure that we don't put ourselves in compromising positions, I guess you could say, but we really can't change what happens to us. What we can change is our counterpunch. What do we do with what's happened to us? And Sherry from No More BS, No More Brain Surgery was on last night, and I have to tell you, it was a really profound question. She says, this is the question I pose to myself whenever I'm in a situation that makes me wonder. Am I going to allow this situation to make me better, or am I going to allow this situation to make me bitter? So in hers, the yin yang is better or bitter. And then ultimately, you and I decide in those moments, in those situations, am I going to win or am I going to whine? Am I going to let it make me better or am I going to let it make me bitter? Right? Because it's up to you and me. And you've heard that saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, most times you're right. Well, it's the same thing. Whether you're winning or whining, better or bitter, you're absolutely right. Because it's on you to decide. You're the one. And heaven forbid, we get to the point where you're the one running around with your own can of spray paint to install your own graffiti. And why would we stand by with as precious as life is? Why would we stand by and let that happen? What possible, we talk all the time about invasive species. We talk about the zebra mollusks or the Asian carp or the kudzu vines. Good morning, Chris. Thank you for joining us. Nice to see your smile pop up again. We talk about invasive species. Well, toxic thoughts, negativity, vitriol from other people, that's an invasive species. Why would you let it in to take over? Remember that Occupy Wall Street stuff? Here's occupy your mind. Why would you let that happen? And more importantly, what can you and I do to stop that from happening? And maybe we get to the point where we just go, it's going to be a practice. Can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Little baby steps, right? Like Bill Murray in the movie, What About Bob? Baby steps. But we most certainly can admit, whether we're able to take action on it or not, no one gets to spray graffiti on the inside of our minds without our permission, without us opening the door, answering the doorbell, unlocking the deadbolt, and letting them in. And I go back to it. The Buddha told the story one time. He says that, if you're standing at your balcony and someone comes screaming and hollering and throwing all kinds of insults at you, he goes, if you don't go to the balcony, if you turn around and walk back inside, they have to leave with all the insults, right? And I think that's true. They have to leave. They have to go away. You hear all the time in the commercial, what can Brown do for you? Well, suppose UPS shows up at the house. They've got a package, requires your signature. You don't sign the package. You don't sign for the package. They don't leave it on the front porch. They don't leave it in your mailbox. They put it back on the truck, and they drive away with it. Well, that's the same thing with outside opinion and conjecture. Why would we let someone deliver a package we're not going to sign for? Jeremy, how are you? Nice to see you, brother. I hope all's well with you and your family. Why would we let that happen? And more importantly, as I said, what can we do? And maybe we've been fed a steady diet of it for so long, where other people's opinions, they get in and they hijack our own, right? Let's talk about invasive species, like you hear all the time in the Everglades. They're sending hunters out after boa constrictors. Well, because they don't belong there. Well, really, that's the same with the negativity, the vitriol. Right? All the critics spew. They're like boa constrictors in the Everglades. They don't belong in your mind. And they're an excellent predator, right? They're an excellent predator because the birds in the Everglades aren't ready. Alligators aren't even ready, for God's sakes, when it comes to boa constrictors or anacondas or any of these other things. Well, it's the same thing with some of the thoughts that you have in your own mind. So again, when I ask, why would we let the thoughts of another get in and ricochet around in our own minds? Why would we let the thoughts of another contribute to our own binge thinking? Why would we let our critics suggest that they know us better than we know ourselves? And then you wonder, is it just that misery loves company? Good morning to you too, Chris. Does misery love company? And then we just learn, okay, well, what is that old commercial? If you can't beat them, join them. And you go, I can't stop them from saying negative things, so I might as well just jump on the bandwagon, the anti-me bandwagon. I might as well chop block my own heart. I might as well derail my own destiny. I mean, it's just easier. It's just easier to go with the crowd, to go with the status quo, to go with the critics' spew. It's just easier than trying to stand up for myself. Well, it may be easier. It may be normal that that's what you've adopted in life, but it most certainly doesn't make it natural. It may be normal, but it's not natural. All right, we're going to get ready to run to the top of the hour. And when we come back, we will only have 4 hours left in the 24-hour marathon, as we're calling it, the ramp up to the record. 81 to win, and the Guinness World Record for the longest call-in radio talk show. Thank you for everyone for joining us. Thank you for everyone for sticking with us throughout the night. It has been a heck of a ride, and I'm thrilled, to be honest with you, to know we only have 4 hours left. All right, let's do this, and we will be right back.
Hey there, this is Lee Rowley from Sales Copy Academy, and you're listening to the live 24-hour all-natural being marathon with my good friend, Brian Brawdy. Keep your mitts off that browser tab because Brian will be right back after this short break with another solid hour of all-natural shenanigans on all-natural being. Stay tuned.
Makes me smile every time I hear him say shenanigans. It just does. All right, we will be right back.
IPMNation.com.